Hello guys, welcome back to She Scores. So today we are going to look at the Utah Royals and Racing Louisville. So obviously Racing won that 3-2. We're gonna kind of fully look into it. I had to figure out what tabs I needed and stuff. And yeah, I hope I got them because I started this way too long to figure out the tabs. So we're going to look at all this data here. Okay. So if we look, so for Utah expected goals, so 1.1 for Utah and 1.9 for Racing Louisville. So it was kind of expected that Racing was going to come away with the win. I would say both teams' records and their offenses aren't always they're not the strongest in a lot of terms, especially in the NWSL, or they have that firepower. I mean, I think especially for racing, they have it. It's not utilized, and I think the same can be said for Utah. They're not really utilizing it, or whereas I think also for Utah, it's like a fresher, younger team. So, and then pass correction rate, you have 77.9 and then 70.6. Again, I think these numbers are kind of the game, I would say, was relatively close, just because the same thing with the expected goals. It's Racing was expected to kind of, in a sense, come away with the goal, in the win. I think both teams, Utah is pretty good at passing. I know Racing could have probably done a little bit better on that, but I think in terms of that, Utah is stronger in that. So I mean, I think especially for this, it's this game was relatively close, even though it doesn't look like it. Possession 54% to Racing's 46. Again, it's a relatively close game. Even though it doesn't show it, and I think that shows in the possession. Utah was obviously controlling a lot of the game. What they did with those chances and all the, even their higher passing rate, kind of does, I think, show the bigger picture of what team utilized their strengths a little better. So for interceptions, that's where you consider we got 9 and 9. That's where I'm saying it's a lot. I think it's the same. Is it I'm trying to think of the word. I forgot to record this on the day I was supposed to, so we're recording it the day we got to edit it. So I am half awake. But interceptions, you have 9 and 9. So both teams were playing pretty level, which I think that was kind of to be expected with Utah and the Racing Louisville game, because both teams are kind of on that same metric of not being seen as the big dogs per se. So I think that's to be expected. So for formation, you had for Utah, they were in a 4-2-3-1, and for Racing, a 4-3-3. So obviously, especially with this 4-4-3 for Racing, they want. I think the same could have been said in the game we covered when they played Angel City. But I think, they want to hit up on the wings because you've got some really pretty good wingers. And then I think Utah, they just come out with a formation to attack, which for me, I don't know if I love that so much, because yes, they probably can have. Oops, I did not mean to touch anything, guys. They probably can have that eventually. It's I think for like their depth, they don't really have a like team system where they can just come out and attack. At least just yet. But we are going to kind of look at the Venn diagram here of kind of what the teams, like kind of go a little more in depth of what the teams made the mistakes on and kind of what teams did well. Alright, this is what we want. So for racing, we had nice crosses and over the top passes. Obviously, we saw some really good chances there. Utah had a lot of defensive mistakes, and both teams had a lot of midfield mistakes. Like, they were both like a lot of where they were losing the ball was in the midfield. So both teams didn't really have a like their midfield wasn't really there. Like, there would be times they'd pass it and then they'd lose it in midfield, and then the other team would go and attack, and it was either leading to goals or it was pretty close. But both teams had a lot of mistakes in the midfield and in the defense. So I think we saw a pretty close game for, even though some of those numbers don't exactly line up. And I think both teams, honestly, if they worked on some of their like transition stuff, especially like if they are gonna lose the ball, how are we gonna make sure that the defense stays ready? Right? Like, not then getting caught out because the midfield just lost the ball. So yeah. I know this was a pretty short episode, but I do hope you guys enjoyed. I am exhausted. But I will see you guys next week with a brand new episode. Peace.